All right, welcome back to the channel. If you're just joining me for the first time, welcome. I'm going to do a quick run through about how I lube my M1A or M14 style rifle. So in hand, I have a copy of the Army technical manual. This technical manual, it's not a field manual, it's a technical manual, was given to me by a friend. The date, October 1959, I'm not so sure about that. Pulled the latest one, and they have one that's quite a bit more recent than this. I may double check the facts. I'll pull that and look and see what the newest rifle, M14 caliber 7.62, has to say about that. But I'm going to go off of this for now. It's very informative other than just the lubrication. It's a little bit vague in how it describes the parts that need to be lubricated. But other than that, there's really a lot of good information in this thing. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Flip on over here to page 16, and it has the lubrication instructions. So obviously it reads a light coat of preservative PL lubricating oil to the following surfaces. In modern times we'd call that CLP, I think. And it lists a few areas there to lubricate it. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the rifle is clear while we're talking. Yep. Nothing there. I don't normally just use oil when I lubricate mine. I do similar to the Grand. I have grease. If you've watched my other videos, I have two separate types of grease here. I have one I got at Academy. It's just a shooter's choice all-weather grease with a pretty high temperature range there. I got at Walmart. This is Outers. This stuff is pretty much just what you'd think of grease to look like. And this stuff that I ordered from Academy is actually red. That's a little bit unusual, but I'm going to run you through the procedure about how I do this. And of course, the first thing we're going to do is break the rifle down. So we've already determined that it's clear. To save a little dead space in the video, I'm going to go ahead and break this down. I have another video about how to disassemble your M1A. You can check that out in the description below. Some folks might want to do this with gloves on. I know if you're working on a car or handling a heavy amount of grease and dirt like that, find yourself a good pair of gloves. You can also use a Q-tip as the applicator, or I've even seen a small paintbrush. For me though, I just use my bare hands, wash my hands afterwards. I'm not too worried about it. If I'm working on the car or something like that, I will. Since I've already got the Q-tip here, I've already wasted it, I'll go ahead and use it just for the demonstration purposes. This grease actually helps a little bit since it comes in a syringe. It's got an applicator. It's pretty small. I can get it in there pretty well. Step one is your locking lugs of your bolt, operating lug, and recesses. So looking at your bolt, and there's not a diagram in this manual, by the way, that explains all these parts. One thing is, don't want to get grease anywhere that touches ammo, so we're going to keep the grease away from that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little bit on this arm here. And I have removed the bolt. You could just about do this without taking it out. Now usually with a little bit of wear on the underside of the bolt, I do put a little bit right there, but that's not in the manual, so that's totally optional. So going for your recesses, I'm gonna put a little grease just right in here next to the chamber without putting it in the chamber. I'm just gonna put it in this recess right here where the lug locks into place, and I'm gonna work it all the way down. And you can see in there's metal on metal wear inside there, so you can kind of tell that with one of these rifles, there's definitely where some lubrication needs to occur. So I'm going to take it on over there, on past the magazine latch there. I'll put a little in the back if you turn it upside down. And I usually put a little just on the underside of the receiver. Again, same with my Garand, and the CMP recommends with your Garand that you put a little grease where you see some metal on metal wear. Next place is going to be your bolt guide. And to me, that tells me it's this area just inside here in your operating rod. So put a little grease in there. And I just got some on my sight post, or the top of the receiver there. I'll have to I think it was a little too much. I think I'll have to wipe off the excess. You know, if I'm cleaning a gun, I just do this. I could just do it. It's a little more difficult doing it on camera. Also, I didn't take the op rod out. I've got it kind of dangling here, which I am going to take it out in a minute. But put a little bit in there. Next one is the anti-friction roller on the bolt. It's pretty simple. This little doodad here. Of course, if you look at your Garand bolt, it just has two lugs that stick out, look like little arms. Put a little bit of grease there. The last place it mentions is your operating rod guide groove on the side of your receiver, so just right in here. I'm going to put a little grease right in there. You could actually do that last, because when you have the rifle assembled, it is not hard at all to put a little grease in there and rack your bolt. And you don't have to overdo it. That's a common mistake with a lot of novice shooters. You don't really have to overdo it. Just put it up in there so it feels a little bit greasy. That's basically it. As far as the Army manual goes now, extra credit, I'm going to pull the op rod out, and I do grease similar to my Garand. Of course, the Garand op rod is a little bit longer than this, but you can tell the discoloration. This is a USGI op rod, even though obviously my M1A is a civilian manufacturer. It's a Springfield Armory. So I'm going to put a little grease on this. Just, it does show a little wear. Just take that, put a thin layer on there. A YouTuber comment on my Garand video that if it rotates, oil it. If it slides, grease it. It's a pretty good little saying there I didn't think of when I was doing my Garand video. The other part on your Garand is the underside of your barrel where your op rod makes contact, and you can see just a little bit of discoloration there. Well, there you go. You can see it now. It's a little hard to see with my light. It's got a little bit of reflection there, but just a little bit right there. And that should do it. Let's get her back together. Give it a little wipe down at the end and get her back together, and we'll call it greased. All right, and that's pretty much it. I ran through the manual, gave a couple tips on where I apply the grease. You can see it's just a little bit shinier in there than it was before. Give the gun a good wipe down, get that excess grease off the top that I accidentally got on it. Hopefully you can get some life out of your M1A, M14 type rifle. So thanks for watching. Thanks for coming by. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down, and I'll see you in the next one.